Good morning and welcome to Tea Talk Live at 6:45. It's me, Miss Ruby. Sorry for being a couple minutes late. I literally opened my eyes at 6:45. I went to bed last night and just totally forgot. We had a rough night with our baby. She's just been crying all night long and I just been trying to get some sleep. And I opened my eyes literally, and for some reason this just popped in my mind. And I was like, oh shoot, what time is it? And it was literally 6:45. Like I literally just woke up. Good morning, Cece. Good morning, Brandy. Juliet, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to everybody who's here. I'm sorry that I look the way that I look, but we still about to have this live conversation, okay? Um, so I want to talk to you guys about I made I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but you can follow me on Instagram. It's me, Miss Ruby, on Instagram. I made a video the other day, and it's kind of just been like the topic of conversation throughout this week for me. Now, even though there are a couple of things that I really want to discuss with y'all, this is the thing that I think is just most prominent at the top of my mind, and it's okay to change. I woke up like this, girl. You look fine. Thank you. I actually did my hair last night, and then pineappled it and went to bed, and the scarf came off in the middle of the night. So it's like I still have to finish putting it all together. So at least my hair isn't the most crazy thing. But anyway, it's okay to change. And I've been dealing with this a lot myself, and I see that a lot of people, they struggle with it. They struggle. A lot of people, I feel like we get caught up and tied to, hey, Twana, hey. I woke up like this. How am I feeling? I'm so sleepy. Oh my gosh. Like, I'm really going to keep this short so I can hopefully go back to sleep and get another hour or something before my baby gets up, because she's had a rough night. We've had a rough night. It's just been a rough. I didn't, the house is just jacked up behind me. I need to clean up. But life is good. It's okay to change. So a lot of times we get caught up and we get tied up in what it is that we have been devoted to, dedicated to for so long. Now, I'm not really talking about relationships, definitely not talking about marriage, okay? Because that's something that no matter how tough it is, you need to try to figure it out. That's a vow that you made, that's commitment. But I feel like outside of your foundational commitments, like if you're committed to God, if you're committed to happiness, if you're committed to goodness, you're committed to health, whatever it is that you're committed to your husband, your wife. Outside of that, I think that a lot of times we overcommit ourselves to everything else, and it's not necessary. You buy a tube of toothpaste and you decide, I committed to this, I bought it, but you'll realize you don't like it early on. And yeah, it's going to cost you another $3 to $5 to go buy another tube of toothpaste, but you ain't got to keep using the same thing if it's not making you happy. And I know that for me, I struggle with that a lot because I be trying to commit to every single thing that I do, everything that I do. Like, oh, nope, I already decided I was going to do it, so I'm going to stick to it. And I think that there's virtue in developing your ability to be committed. But I also think that a lot of times it's what makes people frustrated and stagnant in their lives and unhappy, because we think, oh, I've invested all these years in this career, I can't walk away now. Even though something else has been calling your name, a different career path has been calling your name, has been interesting you, you have a skill set that abides in you, you have a gift that dwells within you, and you're not acting on it because you've put all your eggs into another basket. And I just wanted to say this for somebody who needs to hear it. It's like, it's okay to change. You have one life. And I'm realizing that myself, because in my life I have definitely sown a lot of seeds into, a certain garden, a certain ground. And I'm like, I guess I just feel like I don't want to walk away from it because there's so much that I would be leaving behind. but there's something else that has been calling my name. And it requires a certain level of sacrifice in order for me to do it. And it's scary because you don't really know if it's going to work out when you step into your new role or your new position, or your new decision. But I was talking to one of my followers on Instagram, and she was telling me, like, because I made an Instagram about this, and she was just telling me, like, how she made a bold move with her career. She had been in the medical industry for 15 years. And then all of a sudden she decided to go work in entertainment. It was something that had just been calling her. And it was very scary, but she did it. And God has made a way. It's working out for her. Despite the fact that she didn't have any experience in the industry, she got a job that's paying her well. Like she's happy. Like she's genuine, she's happy. I look at some people who, yeah, maybe life isn't perfect for them, but at least they're aligned with their purpose. They're aligned with whatever it is they truly intend to do here. They're not just taking a job because it pays good, because it's located, in the right place, because of all of these convenient factors, but they're actually stepping into the roles that they truly feel spiritually connected to, and are giving themselves the opportunity for something new, even if it's different than something that they once believed. I think it's important for us to understand it's okay to change, because it opens up our minds and it frees us. It gives us a limitlessness about our thought process. And I study people, right? I love to just listen to people talk and study their journeys. I'm all about just making progress in life and not being stuck in the BS, you know what I'm saying? And so when I study people, I look at some people and I've seen their evolution. And while it is very admirable to see someone stick it out, stick to one thing for a long time and blossom in that area, it's only really admirable to me when I know that that person intended to be there to begin with, or when I know that at some point along the journey, that person, decided that this is what they really wanted and what really made them happy. But it's not admirable when I meet somebody and they've moved up the ladder in their life in a certain area, and I know that that ladder don't mean nothing to them. I know that they're just doing it for the money or the status, or because they're forced to do it. They feel forced because they lack faith. That's not an admirable quality. It's very admirable when I see people switch lanes boldly because they know that there's something else that they really intend to do. And even Hot Damn I Rocks. Let me know if you guys follow him on YouTube. He's one of the OGs of YouTube, period. And one thing I always admired about him, like I was watching one of his videos the other day, and he's going through a lot of really dark stuff right now. So keep him in prayer. But one thing I admired about him, even before he started going through all this, like in the beginning, I saw it. I was just like, this dude is doing what he wants to do. He's not conforming to what's popular. He's making what's popular. And so it didn't seem like it was ever really too much of a struggle for him to turn on his camera and film a YouTube video, because it seemed like he was absolutely aligned with who he just really naturally was. And then he figured out a way to package it. Whereas a lot of times what we do is we look at what's selling, what's popular, what's a guaranteed career path where I know that I can have stability and a safe, what is that word? Security. And how can I conform to fit the role of that thing so that I can have X, Y, and Z? And then a lot of times we wake up after some time of being committed to that, conforming, and we'd be like, man, who am I? Am I happy? What am I doing with my life? And that's why I think it's just like a recipe for failure to begin with, no matter how glamorous it seems. And that's why you guys see a whole lot of people that do publicize their lives. You see them go through all these seemingly crazy changes, and you just think it's so weird. But it's just because that person has slowly but surely decided to commit to themselves more than their roles, and responsibilities. They're committed to themselves. And I think that there's a virtue in that. So like Hot Damn I Rock, I feel like he's never like left being himself, and the evolution that he's allowing himself to go through is all consistent with his authenticity, even though it's some of it is very dark. And I think that a lot of people have a problem with that with him. You know, when I study him and I'm looking at his following, people are like, have a lot of negative to say about him because he's gotten dark, but he's just living out his truth. A lot of really horrible things have happened to the man in his life. It's crushed him, it's breaking him down, and he's being very transparent about it. And I think that that's better than him putting on a mask and disguising his thoughts and his feelings and being something that he's not, where I've seen a lot of other people who have been on YouTube for a long time and they switch lanes, but they usually switch lanes according to what's popular. And I feel like I'm one of those people. Like, I be switching lanes according to what I feel like, oh, this works, let me do it, rather than like, what do I just really want to do? You know, so let me look at some of your comments real quick. Good morning to everybody who said good morning. I'm sorry, you guys. I feel like my curls they like somewhat popping, but that's about it. I struggle with that. This is my number one fear, Brandy. Why is it your number one fear? Twana, I hate for my hard work to go in vain, and this has caused me to be in the same position for years. I could understand that. Change is good. What is his name, Twana? It's Hot Damn I Rock. Wait, I don't think he go by that no more. I think it might be Cain, Cain, and I don't know his last name, but that's his first name. I think Jonathan. I'm comfortable in my job, which I love, but it doesn't pay the bills. I'm comfortable in my non-committed relationship because I'm afraid to start over and fear failing. Hello. I have to learn how to switch lanes. Okay. Yeah, like, it really used to be like all one word, Twana. Hot Damn I Rock. And I think it's DAMN. But just like search it. Even if you just Google that, you're going to find him. Even if you're not spelling it correctly. Yeah, comfortability. Like, I was just talking to my friend about it last night. Like, I think it's important for us to learn how to be content. It's important for us to learn how to be humble, how to be patient and grateful. I believe that God gives us free will because he wants us to play a role in the blossoming of ourselves, because he delights in seeing us exercise our godly gifts. And because he doesn't want to control us, it's the same way that we are with our kids, right? You could control their every move if you really wanted to be a dictator, or you can influence them, inspire them, make suggestions, show them, you know, lead by example, allow them to learn their lessons, and direct them with good counseling. And I feel like that's the role that God plays in our lives more than anything. It's like, I'm not going to control you, but I'm going to counsel you if you let me. You know, I gave you a whole book to refer to with all types of wisdom and lessons in it. I allow you to go through challenges in hopes that you'll learn from them. But at the end of the day, he's not going to force us, right? So I think it's important for us to be content, patient, humble, and all that stuff. But we should never get comfortable, ever. I honestly think if you can confidently say in your life right now that you are comfortable, you're probably not growing. And while comfort, it's like deep down inside all of us, that's what we want. We invest a lot of money into it. I want the best pillow top bed. You know, I want the best lighting in my house just to create ambiance. I want to live in the best location. I want to be comfortable. But we should just never get too comfortable. And that's why I don't really be obsessing over a lot of that stuff that a lot of people do. Like, and people are like, oh, you know, are you happy? It's like, I'm happy when I'm thriving, when I'm working, when I'm making a difference. Now, this has been the most disturbed that I've been in a long time in my life, despite all of the things that I have that one would think make life comfortable. Like, I talk about it all the time. I have an amazing marriage. I have a beautiful daughter. I have something going on in my life in terms of career where if I loved it and if I clung to it, I could actually like blossom and make a lot of money and make a lot of, I don't know, just gain a lot of status. But because I know that I'm not really aligned with what I truly, truly, truly like, what's in me, what I truly desire to do. Um, I'm just, I'm not settled. You know, it's like I can't get comfortable with this when I know that I'm not fully like living out my truth. It's kind of like if I were in your situation, Brandy, it's like you might have a relationship. Some women be like, oh, you should be lucky you got a man. That's how some people talk. Like, what the heck? Not if that relationship ain't bringing you no type of fulfillment, you know? And it's just like, some people would be like, you need to be grateful you have a job. And while all that is true, there are things to be grateful about. If you know in your heart, though, and in your spirit, like, what if you were on your deathbed next week? You would have some major regrets that you didn't step out on faith, that you weren't bold enough to go for what you believe in. And I feel like even when you finally go for what you believe in, like, you know what? I refuse to be in a bad relationship where I'm being disrespected. So even if that means I have to be single for a while until I find my king, it is what it is, right? I refuse to get paid less than what I'm worth, even if that means that I have to potentially lose my job for a minute while I realign myself. I feel like even the people who are committed to themselves and committed to their greatness and their truths and all that, they even have their own set of struggles. But dang, at the end of, at least on the other side of that struggle, there's something that they can rest peacefully in. There's something that they can be proud of. I always say this. I always say this because I am no stranger to hard work. I'm not against it at all. And I know sometimes, like in my immediate circle, it might seem like I'm complaining, but I always be like, I wouldn't mind all of this sacrifice and all of this hard work if I knew that it were in the lane of what I truly love to do. Where I look at some people who they talk about it all the time, like, you gotta be willing to give your all, blood, sweat, and tears. But not for like working at McDonald's. If McDonald's ain't your dream, like, yeah, hustle at McDonald's so you use it as a stepping stone. But like, I feel like a lot of that advice applies when you are really doing something that you really like believe in. That's when you like cling to all of that advice. So going back to the topic of conversation, it's okay to change. Like, maybe you were once fully immersed and committed to something and you really believed in it, and somewhere along the line you just truly stopped believing in it. I'm not talking about somewhere along the line it got hard, you lost faith because it wasn't working. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about whether or not it's working, you stopped believing in it. It's okay to change. I know me, if I go and get a service done from like an esthetician who's working on my skin, or if I'm being seen by a surgeon, I want to be in the hands of someone who really believes in what they're doing, who's going to go above and beyond for me, because it's what it is that they like. Their integrity is attached to this. Their purpose is attached to this. Whatever it is, like they're thinking about it morning, noon, and night. I want to be in the hands of that person rather in the hands of someone who just became skilled at it because they want to make a paycheck. And because that's how I feel when dealing with other people, that's how I want to be. Let me look at some of your comments real quick. Hello, Stacy Little. I hear you, Miss Ruby. I'm working on it. I know I need to. What I need to do, I just don't know how to start. Yes. You know what? I wish I could give you advice on that, how to start. Because I was talking to my friend about it last night. Like, I know what's been calling me. And I truly feel sorry. Like, I still have some congestion. It's like really annoying right now. Dang. I know what's been calling my name. I know that I have had a strong desire to get off of social media lately, despite the fact that, like, I am a YouTuber influencer. There's so much about being on social media every single day that is just so draining to a creative person. Like that's why a lot of times you guys see these artists go MIA, not saying nothing, and then just drop an album. Or you ain't heard nothing, and then they're in a movie. I'm a creative artist. That's really who I am at my core. That's who I've always been. I have to be creating. I have to have time to just sort out my thoughts to think, to write, to try things out. You know what I'm saying? To learn and develop skill. And that's something that I was telling my friend, this will be like the last thing that I talk about. I was telling my friend, there's a couple of people in my personal circle who I study, like I not intentionally study, but like, you know, I have insight into their lives, and so I have the privilege of understanding them on a different level. And I've seen them make sacrifices for years, right? Like one of my friends, she's an incredible dancer. At one point, she was in LA doing all the auditions and trying to mold herself to fit the role, and getting caught up in things that, weren't necessarily tasteful for her. But like you could tell she was unaligned with her truth, but she was really, really, really trying to go for what she believed in, which was dancing, and she's very skilled at it. But enough auditions of people like turning her down and not valuing her craft, and just life taking its turns and bends, she ended up moving 2 hours away from LA and just reorganizing, restructuring the way she approached life altogether. And she got a regular job and started to do that. But one thing that she never stopped doing was dancing. Along all of the changes, she allowed herself to change. She allowed herself, like, yes, I've been committed to dancing, but I know deep down inside of me I'm not being valued. I'm losing myself in this. All the other areas of my life are kind of like not how I want them to be. And so she, instead of fighting the uphill battle, she's like, you know what, let me take a breath, right? And so she moved a couple hours away from LA, got herself in a better position in terms of like just her own personal peace, and never stopped dancing though. Like always was taking dance classes on the side, and she even began teaching dance. And yes, she was dancing in a different capacity than what she thought she wanted to do. She thought she wanted to just be in the music videos and doing all this stuff. But, God called her to something that she didn't know was better. In the midst of all this, she found love, fell in love, got married, has 2 kids now, owns 2 homes, and, her and her husband. And because of the little bit of time she gave herself on the side to still commit to dancing, that was it. She wasn't trying to conquer the world. She wasn't running back and forth to LA. She wasn't doing things that were outside of alignment with what her spirit knew was true. This is just my observation. Just with that little bit of commitment and the fact that she was blessed with a natural gift and a true desire to do this, she is now blossoming in a space of dance where other people, like her being a dance fitness teacher, people in this arena typically are more committed to fitness than dance. And I just don't see everybody blossoming the way she's blossomed. She's now starting to get opportunities in the industry of dance, even outside of her fitness. People are seeing her. People are wanting to use her talents and her gifts, and give her a platform to shine. And I see it unfolding right before my eyes, and I'm like, yo, you're going places. Like, you about to have that breakthrough that you wanted 10 years ago that wasn't working out for you, going for it the way that you were going for it. And it's so admirable. The fact that she's given herself permission to change and go with the flow, God directing her according to her truth, and she just never stopped working hard at what she believed in the background. I feel like it's unfolding for her. I have another friend. She's been willing to, same situation, but with acting. Not same, but very similar situation. Was pursuing acting and modeling in all the wrong ways, though, and had to take a step back, commit her life to Christ, do some things that people would look at and be like, like she decided to go back to school at like age 30, like 29 or 30. And she was learning and training amongst all these young people, very, very, very uncomfortable, but decided, acting is what I want to do, but I don't want to do it this way. And so I'm committed in a different way. Yeah, I'm not out doing all the glamorous things that actors would do, you know what I'm saying? But she's allowed herself to change and to commit more to the process of really having true balance and truth in her life, stepping away. She walked away from a lot of friendships, walked away from a lot of things that was popping and that was glamorous. The people who didn't understand her changes, she just had to let them go. She's developed new friendships along the way. She's developed a new, just honestly, the way she describes it, because I didn't know her in her old self. I met her at the beginning of her transition. She describes how she's so much different today than she was majority of her life. She used to drink and party and all these things. She don't do that no more. She goes to church now Sundays, you know. But she's commit one thing she's never walked away from was that piece of her that desires and dreams to do her acting. She just approached it in a different way, and she got her degree in theater and communications or something like that, and she made connections along the way. And yeah, she's still not pursuing acting in the most glamorous way, but you know what? She's got opportunities that are very unique to her, where she's actually able to make money doing what she loves, travel the world. It's different. She's not on every movie or every television show right now. Yeah, she goes to auditions and stuff, but she's actually still making a living acting in a way that if she would have been told about this years ago, she probably wouldn't have been interested. The way that she's doing it's like this unique opportunity within this acting space. I don't want to, go into too much detail, but it's just crazy, and I see that, she's been accepting of the fact that in order for her to dedicate herself to developing her craft and becoming the woman that, she knows God wants her to be, she hasn't been able to chase money the way, because there's been no time to chase money. So she ain't really been balling throughout all these years. She ain't had the fanciest of clothes and cars. She's had her fair share of struggles, but I feel like at the end of her nights, she could go to sleep and know at least somewhere in her, yeah, I'm struggling and I'm challenged, but man, at least I'm finding a way to do what I love to do. And she told me last night, she's like, she never actually reached a place where she just knew for certain that she was doing the right thing, but she's just gone with the flow. God is calling her to this in this moment. I'm going to go with the flow, and I'm going to trust God right now. And I just think that if your journey, if God is calling you and in order for you to trust God, it requires you to change, that's like the surest indication that it's time to change. And I just want to reiterate, it's okay to change. That's it. And so all these stories are for all these examples. I'm not talking about change for no reason. If what God is calling you to is to be committed to whatever it is that you are in, but to challenge yourself to change in a different area, maybe change your approach in that thing, maybe change your outlook, maybe change your demeanor. That's different. I'm not saying it's time to walk away from everything in life, but I think that deep down within our spirits, we all know when God is calling us for something greater. And if the only thing keeping us from stepping into that calling is fear of change, that's when we need this message the most, because it ain't no sense in holding on to something that doesn't bring you any self-actualization. It doesn't bring you any type of fulfillment. I mean, I know we shouldn't just be living this life to just fulfill all of our every desires, but I think there's a soul tie to our calling. I think that there's something about when something has your name written on it that you're just never going to have peace until you step into it. Relationships wise, careers wise, family, friendships, who we are as ourselves, the things that we have about ourselves that are not, they're not being watered, like those seeds that have been planted within us somewhere along the way that are not getting any sort of water, any sort of attention, because we're afraid to change. And this message goes to me more than it goes to y'all first. I got it first, y'all. How to change, Brandy? I feel like you and I have had a few discussions on these lives. I wish I could tell you how. The only thing that I could think of right now, because I'm in the midst of doing it, is to just do it and accept what's on the other side of it. And that is like the hardest thing. We be trying to find alternative solutions. Well, I'm not actually ready to walk away from this because I'm, attached to the label. I'm attached to the check. I'm attached to the comfortability. So how can I still maintain those things and somehow still make a little bit of room for something new? I've been trying to do that for years. You probably would do it in your relationship. I'm not going to fully leave him, but I'm going to just stop answering when he calls. I'm not going to fully leave him, but I'm going to stop bending to his every beck and call. I'm going to stop saying yes every time he asks me for something. I'm going to stop making him all dinner, doing all the romance. We'd be like, I'm going to give up pieces and pieces of this. We won't be willing to just throw the towel in. But man, I believe that there's something on the other side of that. I just truly believe there's something so powerful on the other side of just committing, just being willing, that level of sacrifice that most people aren't willing to make. And I see how hard it is to do it. Never thought I'd be here because I used to be the biggest dreamer. Oh my gosh, couldn't tell me nothing. I'll be so quick to walk away from something. Man, so quick. What? This ain't working? Bye. Like, period. To the point to where I started to develop insecurities about commitment. People started telling me, man, you're not committed to anything. And I decided I don't want that reputation of not being committed. And so then I started to overcommit myself to everything. Balance, man. Let me look at y'all comments because I'm going to end this live. Twana, yes, I'm a creator too. I love crafting. Oh, that's good. This year for me is all about taking control of my life in every area. Cece, good morning, Cece. Wana Hawkins, yes. Walk into your greatness. Yes, 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 yes. That's what this has been about. I will caution you a little bit, Cece, about taking control of your life. I just truly believe that none of us are really in control of our entire lives. But I think there's, something there. It's okay. I feel like it's important to take control of your decisions, though. You may not be able to control every aspect of your life. It's just like you ain't gonna be able to. Like, you ain't gonna be able to control who walks into your life, who says things to you that impact you, what other people do that impact your life, the life that you're living. Edison decides to turn the lights off right now. You can't control that. And I think some people are under this impression or this illusion that they can. But what we can control is our responses. We can control where we dwell, our thoughts, like where our thoughts dwell. We may not be able to control every thought that comes upon us, but we can control which ones we dwell on, which ones we let influence us, Can't control what happens to us, but we can control what we do as a response to it. So if that's what you're talking about, definitely I'm all for it. Other than that, I don't encourage people to feel like they could just take control of every aspect of their life. I don't think that that's it. Like, I don't think that's what God's calling us to do. That's just me. Thank you guys for joining me today. T-Talk Live at 6:45. Look at God. Like, I literally opened my eyes, y'all. It must have been 6:44 and 30 seconds, but I know by the time I grabbed my phone and looked at the time, it was 6:45. No alarm. Struggling to sleep all night, but God. So thank you guys for joining me today. God bless you. Remember to be you, love you, make it all beautiful. Yeah. Next week, I would love to hear some progress stories about some changes that y'all have made. See you then. Bye.